be almost 3 months to get into this place for my daughter. So
Isn't it?
like, I'm not gonna move it.
Isn't it crazy?
It is.
Well, that's why I got this.
Thank you.
One of these days, it's still staying or yeah.
Was this your pen?
Nope.
Okay.
I think
It's
it's
still
that.
staying or Scott, but one of these days it's gonna fall
Well,
off. So, it just cracked.
Maybe it's Friday night, they made it, or at least on the list.
well, Joan,
I don't know.
They work Saturday.
yeah, she never has anything on either. She hasn't had it done for 4 years. But I thought, well, you know what, maybe I should have.
Good news.
Insurance and
Bad news.
and we got her.
Yeah.
Pledge of allegiance, it's 9 o'clock.
That's my fault. I'm sorry.
Or we can't get in.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning.
Good morning.
Go ahead and call this meeting to order. We need approval of the agenda. Is there any deletions, corrections, or additions?
I'd like to remove number 5.
With that removal of item number 5, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And they will be here next week.
We're in order for approval of Monday, November 14th, 2022 minutes.
I thought they read well. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, item number 1 is secondary roads. Zach, we're up with some utility permits. Good morning, Zach.
Morning. Got 4 permits today. First one is the biggest one. This is Windstream. They're trying to get a fiber line basically from Albert to a cell tower site. I don't think this will happen this fall, winter anymore with the way the weather is, but haven't talked to them specifically about that. This one's been in the works for a little while. They had some corrections on the permit they had to go through to get this one put together, but they do have all the culverts identified now and things kind of put together. So I think we're good to go. There are a lot of utilities along this route, so we'll have to evaluate that as they go a little bit, but that's kind of the norm anymore. So.
Large fiber they're putting in to a cell tower. Something else in the works there.
So, want to do them all together. Any reason?
Does anybody want to see the hard copy of that? Just got
I've
it.
got it right here.
Okay,
I got it right here.
sorry, Zach.
Nope, no problem. I can go through the rest of them if there's no questions on that one. The second one is for Windstream as well. This one is, the work is not quite done on this one. What this was a repair. When Westside Networks contractor was working, Windstream line was hit. I'm not sure whose fault it was, but this is basically fixing that, repairing that Windstream's line. So they did a temporary, and this is the permanent fix to get it remedied. So this is Maple River Section 7. Hawthorne 180th. Next one is Windstream as well. This is the same situation. Another location that was damaged and needed to be repaired. This one was just north of Halber. on Hawthorne as well. Stop me if you have questions. And then the last one is for West Central Iowa Rural Water. This is section 15 of Washington Township. This is just extending a 2-inch water main to serve another resident. It's not too far. They say.
Probably about a little over half mile.
I was gonna say it's 2,500 feet roughly. I mean, it's not too far, but we do have one bore underneath the West Mish River. We had talked about location on that with them, but this is something they are going to try to get done yet this year. We'll try to do this week if possible. So.
So this is trenched in on the shoulder then, or is it back in the field?
At the bridge, they're gonna be backside of the right of way. And with the short distance that they're going, I believe they're gonna stay in the back of the right of way at this one. I can't remember if there was other utilities in the shoulder on this one or not. That might have made a difference. All talk.
Well, rural water usually isn't on that.
They generally try to stay
Back to
on private property for the most part, but with being a short one like this and with the bridge, I'm guessing that and the boring, that probably made a little difference, but so that's why I'm guessing they'll probably stay on the backside of the right away this stretch for how long it is. So. Any questions on any of those?
If there's no questions, I'll make a motion for the utility permits.
I was like,
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else going on, Zach?
Not a whole lot. Sounds like it'll be a pretty decent week of weather.
2 weeks, next couple weeks look pretty
It
good.
does, it does. Try to keep blading even though it's dry. Don't know if we'll try to do any more dirt work or not. I think there probably is a little bit of frost, but not a lot, so we'll see how things go with that. Utility companies are still working.
We could use a little rain,
Definitely could. They'd be,
get
Very
some of those
beneficial.
roads settling in a little bit. We're getting more powdery.
they are. Very much so.
Well, that's so damn washboard.
You can cut them, you can't get them to pack, so. we'll just-
I've started hauling some rock in, but other than that, pretty much status quo, so.
So you
Does the state have different requirements as far as where they want their fiber? Because I see on
Yes,
coming in on 71, it's on the back side of the,
they generally try to put everything on the right of way line.
okay,
I don't know what they're gonna start doing either, because they're gonna start getting full as well. But they try to stay away from the road as much as possible. I don't know if part of it's, I think, because they have more room, they have wider right of way. I don't know, if maybe they don't want contractors working next to the road as much. I guess.
I mean, is that something that we would want to do?
In some places it works and we allow them to go there, but a lot of times our back slope is very steeper and it's hard for them to get back there. And what we don't want is the bottom of the ditch.
Ditch, okay.
Probably the biggest thing is when we're in the shoulder, we're generally avoiding most of the tile lines, and that's probably one of the big reasons why we're there. Obviously we still have to deal with culverts and bridges and all that, but it's gonna be a concern going forward just because it's full. I mean, there's some corridors that are, there's just no room, so it's gonna be interesting.
Over the years, I would tell you that private right of way is probably the best for the county and for the utilities.
Mhm.
The next best is absolutely dead center in Middle Road. But there is so much out there, there just isn't room for everybody.
Right. And the worst part is there's a lot of stuff that's abandoned that you don't know whether it's abandoned. It's not located,
It's
but you
never
don't know.
removed, so
When you start digging, you don't know whether it's live or not. And that's an issue
you
too.
hit something, there's no way of.
Well, I know managers appreciate the fact that we've done with him on the utilities, like the manning gas and stuff.
Mhm.
He's brought it up to me several times.
Well, I guess we gotta try to work with everyone. I mean, hopefully it's making I guess all the residents of the county, serving them a little bit better with a lot of the stuff that we're doing. Some it's not directly related to them, like the one point of cell tower, but to some extent it is. It's still gonna serve somebody to some extent, so.
And you know, gas is probably the highest risk out there, so you probably want it in the safest place you can get it.
Right,
Well, Fire Powers is right behind it, not too far behind it.
it is, and we got a lot of.
Communications, it's bad if it gets cut, but
Yep.
it's usually not a life-threatening situation, so.
Correct. Agree 100%.
Is the Lanesboro project, the water project, is that complete?
Haven't heard anything, not one thing. As far as I
So
know,
have
it
they
hasn't.
even started?
I don't believe so. I don't know if it's been let.
Oh, the Lanesboro. I was
The water
wondering,
deal?
yeah, I went through there the other day and I thought about that. I hadn't seen any
So,
activity.
yeah, I don't, that's
I think-
a weird deal.
Just sitting here reading between the lines, I think it's the architect probably issues.
I don't know if there's problems with the funding or I'm not
Probably
sure
will.
I'm not sure how that's working, but it's been dead quiet on that. I haven't heard anything.
I mean, he was pushing you pretty hard, wasn't
Very hard.
Your weed guy's done a good job with that cell tower there, whoever sprayed it. I don't know if your weed guy did it or
He
somebody.
sprayed and he did some with corn knife and
Yeah.
weed whacking and whatnot, so.
Yeah, it looks good. I went by there the other day and it looked real good. It's just something once you kill it, you just keep down, and it's easier to keep down.
Right, get through this first
Yeah.
year or two, get the weeds down, then usually.
Yeah.
Does a little better, so.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
he? Yeah.
All right, the next item on the agenda is to discuss county dissemination agent. I think everybody received that email. This came from Nathan Summers. He was in a position and now has moved from a different position. The cost of his services would go from, the old cost was $1,000 down to $500. And I think you guys know he does our filings for our bonds that we have issued. Courtney, is there anything you want to add?
No, it's been great to work with, so my recommendation would be to continue to work with them, and it's just a bonus that it's less money.
And Nathan's done us one hell of a job with our bonding. He's worked with money and gold.
Would be my recommendation, we'd continue.
If there's no other questions, I'll make a motion that we authorize the signature of the dissemination agent agreement.
I would second that.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, item number 3 is to approve the plats that we have this week.
Yeah, right up top.
Is there any questions? I'm gonna crack.
I didn't see anything out there. Did you?
I had a question earlier, and I think maybe you heard that. This one here doesn't have an easement, but this person is buying this from his dad. So it's adjoining, so that's why there's not a need for an easement. So I had that
Oh.
question,
Oh, I see.
because normally when you do a plat, that's not, you have to have an easement, but
Don't want,
being it's adjoining, you don't have to.
landlocked situation.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah. Makes
So,
sense.
And the other one shows the easement on it. So right here, that's the one that shows. No, I did not. I made the last one.
Don't fight over it.
Well, in interest of saving time, I'll make the motion and approve the plats.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more
Stand
discussion?
off.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, item number 4 is to set public hearing for funding status of the CDBG Down Payment Assistance Program.
You guys all have a copy of the notice. So we're just required to do this. Then I was notified by Region 12 that we needed to do this, so, proposing December 5th at 9:30 for the public hearing. I'm assuming Carla will be here for that. We'll discuss the status of the funding for the program.
What time did you say?
December 5th at 9:30.
For a program that's gonna be non-existent next year.
Yep.
The lack of funding.
Lack of funding, no, I think lack of participation by the state. I really hate that they're dropping this program. This was a good program for the county.
Yeah, keeps a lot of the communities able to fund those
Well, and that's.
properties in need and it helps our tax base over the long run. It's just a lot of good things with it.
Well, and like you say, it helped the whole county. It was all the communities. This program, we can work with any community. That's what was nice about it.
Do you need a motion?
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I'm going to skip over item 5 and go on to item number 6. Newer management annual updates. For Justin Sawyer, section 23, Glidden Township, updated rules and P indexes. We have Brian Schroeder, section 1, Arcadia Township, no changes. And then we go into committee reports.
I'll go first. Last week I had no meetings or committees. I did spend some time Monday afternoon with Zach looking at utilities around the county. Next week, nothing. Thanksgiving.
I'll go next. I had no official meetings last week. I did get in on an email string, and I'll be getting a phone call today. There's been some changes for the WIW for that WIWD, the workforce development. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's going to be a funding issue, and I'm supposed to get a phone call sometime today or tomorrow from the CO and the fiscal agent. I have a feeling we have some big issues, but I'll keep one of you informed where that's going and why we're getting there. Hopefully we'll find out today. I have nothing coming in front of me this week.
I can go next. This week I was reached out by the unions to set up just a meeting where we could have some discussions, and they wanted to go out for lunch. And I recommended that was not wise, that we do this in a public setting. So we are meeting up here December 2nd at noon, just to go over. And I said, we we'll do listening only. We're not making any decisions at this point, so. So that's that. Then on Thursday, I also attended a Zoom meeting on Highway 30. There's a lot of stuff going on there. They had part of the study here. I'll pass this around if you guys want to look at it. Apologize for some of the printing. My ink was getting a little dry on the last end. But it has a lot of good stuff in there as far as demographics and the population, employment trends. And there's a lot of good in what's this up to this point. They're going to be doing some more work yet on it, but some of that's pretty small there, but
Is this the Snyder and Associates?
yeah. So they kind of presented that program like that.
Good. They did that pretty quick.
Yeah. But it shows, you know, down to basic, the population, employment, and all those trends are still positive on Highway 30 versus 20.
So did they, well, I'll look at it, but do they do comparisons between the two?
There's, I think there's some in there. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see on that thing there, but. Okay, then Friday I had the Yes Center board meeting. That one I also zoomed in because of my having another appointment at 1 o'clock. They had 15 kids in there that day again. No BIAs, Bureau of Indian Affairs. They averaged 13.2 for the month. They were down to 10 for 2 days and they felt good about that. We had a little bit of discussion on part-time employees benefits.
Do we have anybody from Carroll County? We don't have anybody. right now, do we?
Well, I'll just pass this around. That was my next thing.
Okay.
You know,
I thought I saw
I keep telling you that we, I remember when the days when we had $35,000 accounts receivable. And here lately, it's been running 150 to 160. This last month, the accounts receivable is $196,464. And these are fairly current.
We do have somebody. else.
Yeah.
I thought I saw that.
We,
accounts
our
payables
bill,
last
our
time.
bill on this one here was, we're not even on.
Did they get transferred?
Yeah, probably this is a 1 point shot in time, but I'll pass this around. You can look at these accounts receivable. I mean, some of these accounts. They've got to be,
Well, our line item for juvenile is one up.
but ours ain't as bad as some of them.
Oh, I'm
Some of
sure
them
it's
are
not.
24, 30,000 bucks a month.
Woodbury,
Woodbury's not big up to all.
who's the big one?
Well, right now, I think the big one is less. Well, that's transport. 36,000.
Probably Sioux.
Plymouth County.
Plymouth County.
I mean, I think it's fantastic that your checkbook looks that way, but
It's
for
not good.
not great.
It's,
for not
yeah,
great
it's good
reasons.
news, bad news. Good news for the
Got a lot of
System.
income, just a lot of work, got a lot of expenses too.
But then, you know, they're having a hard time with staffing and, you know, we lost quite a few staff to different issues that have happened and some that passed away.
That's a hard place to say.
Well, it's hard to predict what you're gonna have.
Mhm.
But anyway, so, yeah, it's, other than that, I mean, everything else is going good up there. We're having issues with the transporters. We need more people. If you know of anybody that wants to look for a part-time job down there, as far as being on call with the transports, there's a car they'll have situated down here in Carroll. But, so. Yeah, it's been busy up there, so
Did they start doing their remodel for that one room? I know they didn't.
I don't know what you didn't bring that up. I don't.
They were gonna look into it.
Yeah. Okay, that was last week. This week, actually, I have nothing. First holiday weekend.
You wanna go, Dean? I don't know.
I'll go next. All I had last week was the conservation board meeting and the big item that was on the agenda, most everything was just updates and probably nothing that you probably don't already know. They talked about the bridge agreement between secondary roads and The only thing is that they did discuss online facility reservations, Jane, but not with camping.
Yeah, I wish they'd just they didn't have to do them all, but half.
Yeah,
I mean,
Well,
I know people.
that
don't,
discussion's gonna be going on for a while yet,
People
so,
would have come here if they know they could, you're not gonna drive 60 miles and think, well, maybe I might get a spot.
yeah. Yeah, I get it, but what this was mostly about the facilities that they have, so. And that's,
I keep
An
losing
ongoing
keep losing that
discussion.
battle.
yeah,
told-
I
I
didn't even want to bring it up, to be quite honest with you, because I knew that you wouldn't be happy with the result of it.
Well, I told Jason last time, man, one of you might have to do that. It might affect your funding.
That's
Try to
what we
put
talked
the push.
about since, I mean, when Neil was here, we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
That's been going on. a long time.
Well, I mean, people, they're not gonna drive here with the idea that they may get a spot.
Then there was the Breeda Depot discussion with Rhonda and Chuck Martin. Rhonda and Chuck were there at the meeting, and I'll pass this around. This gives an outline of what the conservation actually owns in that area. The the black highlighted area is what they're interested in. I'll also send around pictures that the Martins have taken of the depot. They proposed to purchase the depot, and I think the discussion was favorable. That the city wants something to happen there, either do something or we'll tear it down or whatever. I also have the legal description of that depot, and the county does own that. So it is the county's property. I think the conservation board really can't do anything about it because it would be a county situation. And I think their consensus is that nothing's really in the works to get anything done. They've been discussing this for years about what we're going to do with that building. And there's been discussion about nonprofits taking it over and getting grants and improve it. But the Martins have made their case that they would like to purchase the building and upgrade it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but and bring it back to a really satisfactory state. They want to use it as a railroad museum, part of it, and then the other part would be used for bicycle rental, 6 months out of the year.
Yeah, and eventually maybe even a little cafe.
Yeah.
Maybe a museum.
So I think, for the, and I guess there was a couple things that I was concerned about. And one is that, this is their money that they're putting into this if they do purchase it. And I was concerned a little bit about that maybe if a nonprofit had it, that they could get grant dollars and stuff like that to make that happen. I think they want to get started on it a lot sooner than what that process would take. And so that's why they're pressing right now. Another big concern, I'm not going to say a big concern. Another concern is that it sits on the trail. So, what happens if they decide to sell it or to do something with it or abandon it, or what happens? And one of the suggestions from one of the board members was that there should probably be if they purchase it, then there should be a contract with the county and them as far as what happens if it is sold or abandoned.
First right of refusal.
First right of-
That's what I was.
First right of refusal. So,
And we're completely
okay with that. So I think it's a really good deal. I mean, I applaud the Martins for making this effort, and it's the only it's the only good option for that depot at this time, and
So would the conservation own the trail right by the depot? You still keep that, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
There, you guys are just asking for the building itself, correct?
Building and land. Yeah, the building sitting on it.
yeah,
One concern I'd have for you, and this is just thinking outside of the box, obviously it being right on the trail, are you guys prepared? Because there's riders. You're gonna have people that stop to use the restroom.
Yes,
Okay,
and, yeah, and there's no restroom there currently. Our
Yeah.
plan is to put in full facilities.
but you know what I mean? Like if you did a cafe, you would have a biker stop in. If you guys are prepared for that, then.
Not a problem.
yeah,
But I think that first right of refusal would be a good thing.
that's the big thing, yeah.
I think it's something, you guys, something, throw your hands up or something else happens to you or whatever. At least then the conservation can go back in and try to redo it if they had, then if there's a grant situation or a nonprofit that want to give stuff up their thing.
Yeah.
At least you'd have the first right to get at it.
Right. So yeah, I think the process would be they'd have to make a request, get on the agenda, make a request to purchase the ground, and then I think there would have to be a
Public hearing.
hearing and sealed bids. That whole process. So
Interested in the whole piece.
You understand that if we do that,
Are they interested?
Right,
in
that
the
is-
we have to open it up.
That
to
little
everybody.
triangle space.
no,
Just
I think,
space there.
well, Rich brought up a good point here. So where that map
It's
is
over
at.
there.
Oh, here it is. So this is. There's two city wells in here. So,
I don't know what this is. about.
That's
I don't know.
interesting.
yeah, so there's, so the city has an easement to those wells, and so that's why I don't think they want to be involved in any of that.
Okay,
So they just, basically, this is a pretty big area here. I mean,
okay.
these are fairly good size. I don't know how big it would be.
So it would
You
need
know.
surveyed and plotted out.
Yeah.
So you'd only want to buy what's north, just the short distance north of the depot
Right.
to the road.
Right.
Just enough to make your operation work without taking care of.
The
whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, because, the city has those easements on there, the city
Yeah.
has a bunch of stuff on it, and I don't wanna have to mow around it, I don't. wanna have to
That was
do
something I'd recommend is make sure that those are recorded.
Those easements.
Yes. Make double back on that, make sure Avation check into that.
What was conservation's board's wishes?
They supported it.
Okay.
They supported it, and I think after we ironed out all the right of first refusal and that type of thing, and the process that it would have to go through for them to purchase the property. So we can think about it.
I'd make sure that white right of refusal is part of the deed,
Yeah,
that it lit, as long as they were the owners of it, we'd have the right to it.
At the same price.
Whenever you,
Well, I don't know if you tie a price to it, that, because I think that'd be asking a little too much.
you know what?
I would say if it was a short term, yes. If you're doing it for perpetual of the ownership of it. I don't know.
I was just out of curiosity's sake, I think I would, I think I'd get a hold of Chris Whitaker. And make sure that the way that we're attaching this property or dealing with this property doesn't lock them out of like any future grant possibilities or things that they can file for and still receive. I don't want to create something that would say, we don't do it for those kind of people, for that particular structure. I'm usually all I'm saying, I just, if there's an opportunity for them, I want them to be able to have that.
Well, they'd have to create a 501(c)(3)
Well, yeah,
become a
they-
nonprofit.
Yeah.
yes,
Or you can maybe, if through the Main Street, Brita, with their jump in with their chamber and
There's grants available for private enterprise.
for a private.
well, and that's
there's some
true,
out there.
because Manning has done that.
Yeah,
So it's
and I
been rapid.
I
So
just don't want to
it's a
lock
good-
you
it's a good-
out.
Yeah, the good thing you brought that up. I mean, the city can help them.
I want to help, and I think it's a
Yeah.
great asset for the breed area. Don't get me wrong, I just don't want to trap you in a spot that we,
Sure,
if
That's a
somebody's
good-
got their checkbook open, we want to take advantage.
That's a
of it.
good point, Rich.
sure.
Yeah,
And just double check on that, just to make sure we're not doing something that would jeopardize. I don't think we
Yeah.
are, but
well,
don't know
yeah, well, I mean, you know, if they own it, I mean, they wouldn't be any different than any other,
I wouldn't think so.
yeah,
Okay. Just double back on it.
yeah. So that is that,
So they're gonna, you guys gonna.
get on the agenda.
Yeah, I'd like to get on the agenda that
Present.
next one,
They want to get going.
Sounds good.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big, that's a big effort. You want to put a bathroom in there, you want to,
That's a chore.
It's a great thing
Yeah.
to give back to your community. I commend you. It's very awesome.
This
So-
we handled like the property in Maple River. That somebody made an offer. And then the board had to decide whether or not they were interested in selling it. And if you guys are, then,
And we were not.
well,
that
correct.
one,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's correct. But if you are, then, you would make a motion to set a hearing and accept sealed bids on that.
We would do that Monday, next Monday.
You'd be just setting the hearing, though. I mean, you couldn't
Yeah.
do anything else.
right,
Let the ball start rolling down.
Right.
yeah.
Very good.
That's all I had last week. This week I have nothing but turkey.
All right, I can go. Last week I had Wesco. We had our year-end audit discussion, and here's the financials if you guys so inclined to look through them. They had a pretty good year. Obviously with ARPA and CARES funds.
Yeah, I know.
We still have $250,000. We had $250,000 that needs to be spent towards bonuses, salary raises. We went ahead and earmarked those for bonuses at the Christmas time for all the employees, because it has to be spent this year. And then they have another one that has to be spent by 2 years. So we're starting to earmark how we're going to spend that out. Again, they're still having trouble with staffing on the weekends, but it's a hard shift to fill. Other than that, things are going well. Next month, we have our Christmas get together. There's 3 different Christmas parties. There's one for the staff, there's one for the clients, and then there's one for the executive board. I'm gonna try and make it to the one with the staff plus the executive board. And then I also, this week, I have the daycare meeting tonight, and then I have newspaper and radio. A few things I want to mention in committee reports. Next week, I think we're gonna have a presentation from the committee for employee handbook slash group insurance, health insurance.
We're doing that next week, or we're doing it the 5th. It don't matter to me.
Well, we'll let you know, because we're gonna have a meeting right after this one.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I think we're ready, but in case we have to dig up any more info.
Another recommendation, I'm gonna give you guys a little time to think about. I've been thinking about this and I would like your feedback at another, you can think about it. But the pre-budget workshops, I would like to see that go away. And we have them present their budgets to the board directly for pre-budget, instead of having 2 people go out separately. Just have them do it once, and our agendas would get a little bit longer, but I think it provides great transparency to the public as well. And everybody hears it for the first time together, instead of somebody reporting back. And you get the full picture from the department head or elected official. So you guys can take some time to think about that. Last thing, I just want to make sure we keep this on the forefront. We need to consider and keep thinking about the GIS position and where we see that whole department going. I know Dalton's going to be on the agenda next week with IT. I know we've had some discussions on the site as well as about where we see that in the future. So just keep that on the forefront as we're going into budget season. And the final thing I want to make very clear to the general public, the Board of Supervisors do not set the date for the special elections. That has nothing to do with the supervisors. That is in the hands of the auditor. So
Just want to clarify that so people know.
But we have to we have to make a motion to have a special agent?
No,
No, it has nothing to do with the board of supervisors.
Oh, I thought I read that someplace.
Follow up court.
I reread it again to make sure, and no.
Oh, good, that's fine.
I don't have IT on the agenda for next week.
I will speak with him and let you know.
Okay, Chris is something that's fine, but
I will talk to him and let you know.
I had a note here that you were gonna mention something about the Observer.
Oh, thank you. So this is why, this is fantastic. So the Observer over on West Side reached out to me. And what's her name?
Janine.
Janine.
I was gonna say Jane, but. I was wrong.
So I reached out to Rich, so he did his weekly Board of Supervisor update. They would like to post it in the Observer at no charge to the county, so when we're doing our radio newspaper, if we could just send her a copy of that, because there's a lot of people that live in Breda and Arcadia that don't receive those Board of Supervisors, so I think that would be a great addition, especially since she's doing it. at no
All it
charge.
takes is just add another email to
Yeah.
that list.
So I just wanted to make sure.
If
everybody was aware
anybody
of that.
needs or email it, I do have it, and you probably have it too.
Anything else? Any comments from those in attendance? Let's see. Courtney, what do we got for next week? What?
Possibly IT. It's a bill day. We're gonna set the hearing, to talk about is it called the Breda Depot? Does that make sense? Okay. Breda Depot. We have a 9:30 hearing.
In Elder Bridge?
Hearing's probably for the.
Oh, it's got it, roads?
Road upgrade.
Yes, thank you.
Otherwise,
From level C to level A on.
That
240.
was just on the road. Usually I put the notice on my thing, and then Elder Bridge will be here. And I did include the updated, or not really an updated, but a spreadsheet for the nonprofits that you guys. as we go along
Thank you for that.
take notes. Notes?
If there's nothing else, there was no comments online in order for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries for adjourned.
What's that?
Beat him to the punch. I didn't even look at her.